You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. I'm coming at you guys with a second podcast episode for the day. As big news has come out, the XFL and the NFL are conjoining in a partnership essentially to expand the game of football and help grow it as a whole. This is probably bigger than some people might realize because for a long time now, especially in my opinion, I'm not sure how others feel about this, so please let me know in the comment section down below. The fact that the NFL has never really had a sort of developmental league since NFL Europe shut down back in, I want to say 2008 or 2009, other than obviously the college ranks, I felt like it kind of limited the NFL and just the game of football as a whole and evolving and also kind of really expanding its reach in a truthful manner. I discussed kind of the NFL Europe thing in a video a few days ago at some point. I think it was when the International League was kind of announced to be expanding into Germany. There needs to be multiple leagues run by the NFL and backed by the NFL dollar for it to truly be able to grow the sport into a worldwide thing as opposed to just an American-wide sport with some slight popularity in countries varying around the world. Now, the XFL presents a great opportunity to do that. One, obviously it's a US-based thing, but one, you now open up the door. If the NFL is willing to partner with one group, maybe they're willing to partner with another, and maybe that's one that's overseas. Even if it's not an NFL-developed league, even if they're just backed by the NFL dollar and the ability to maybe do a few things because the NFL is willing to maybe front some money to help grow that league and help turn it into a more professional setting where the NFL could be like, hey, this is our developmental league in Europe. This is our developmental league in South America, wherever it may be that they're trying to really expand and grow. It's exciting. It's exciting. And from what I've gathered here, and this is an exact quote coming from the article that I was reading here, the NFL and XFL will collaborate on select innovation programs to, quote, unquote, further expand the game of football and create increased opportunities for player development both on and off the field. Some of the things that they're going to be working together on include both health and safety initiatives, technology, scouting, officiating, and game rules. This is really, really big because this allows the NFL to try out some of those things that you see them do in the preseason. Maybe they're like, hey, XFL, we have X, Y, and Z we kind of want to play around with. Is that something you guys would be interested in doing in your league this year? Just so we can kind of see it in game action, see how it goes. The XFL has always thrived on being a more so they're not afraid rather to kind of push the envelope and see what they can do differently from the standard football world, and they've done it fairly well in a few different in a few different phases of the game, and impressively at that. So this is really exciting to see them do stuff like that, and I'm really excited about more the officiating than anything else. I'm one that I feel like I see things a little bit differently when it comes to the officiating, things that come up in the NFL. Some people tend to feel like the referees are controlling the game, whereas it's just, in my opinion, it's more so the referees are being given a book of rules, and it's up to them in their discretion to interpret the rules the best possible way. And while we viewers at home are seeing one thing, these guys are on the field potentially seeing another, and there's the disparity of, oh, well, there's people in New York seeing what's going on, and why aren't they calling down and helping alter the way these calls are being made? I think that this is going to present a good opportunity for something like that to be addressed. The game rules, obviously, maybe, the NFL really wants to change the way overtime's done, and they're like, hey, XFL, we've been hearing a lot about overtime rules the last few years. Can you maybe try rolling this out for your first season next year, just so we can kind of see how it would look, and see how it works out. The technology standpoint's a big thing, and one thing the NFL has actually already adopted, if you are not unaware, the NFL's Skycam actually came from the 2001 Vince McMahon iteration of the XFL. That was something the NFL adopted from them and eventually dubbed the Skycam, and it's become a thing now. So there have been things already that they've kind of pulled from the XFL in years past and used going forward, and that's one thing that, has it greatly improved the game. On top of that, even what else is there that we could possibly see get pulled from this? The kickoffs is probably a really good example of this as well. A lot of injuries happen in the NFL during the kickoffs, and it's something that they've really been looking at and trying to address. I feel like the rumor of the axing of the kickoff has been something that has plagued the league now for years and years and years, and it's always been a part of the game, and it's something that I don't necessarily want to see go. Well, the XFL absolutely flipped the script and I think did probably more than anyone ever has with addressing this kickoff issue. Some stuff that I have written out here in my notes. If you did not know this, and I want to credit Sam Schwartzstein, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, excuse me. I have a pretty crazy last name myself, so I'm sure, we see eye to eye on that always happening to us. But I want to shout him out because he had an amazing thread on Twitter about this a while ago. It's incredible what they were able to do and essentially like almost eliminate injuries from the kickoff without actually eliminating the kickoff like some people have, like the 4th and 15 thing that we saw them doing in the Pro Bowl this year, which is, in my opinion, kind of nonsense. I don't really like it. I don't think any team converted it either, so it's not something that, in my opinion, is a viable option for the game. But when you look at what the XFL did, they essentially had the return team line up at the 30 and the kicking team line up at the 35, and this is on the receiving team's end of the field. No player was allowed to move until the ball was caught by the return guy, and then from there, boom, the play begins. Did it look a little bit different? Yeah, of course, but in 400 kickoffs, there was a 93% return rate. So it wasn't even like, oh, we need to just relegate it to touchbacks. No, 93% of the time, the ball was being returned, and there were 0 injuries. That's in 400 kickoffs. I don't know if the NFL has ever put a number together like that ever in a weekend or two. I'm curious to see what the closest numbers to that would be, but it's incredible just how forward-thinking and entertaining and just the ability to expand and improve the game the XFL has been able to do in the few short times that it's been around in the league. Obviously, the 2021, a little bit more expansive in player safety and whatnot. They're not having people beat each other up for a football instead of a kickoff at the beginning of the game, but the Sky Cam from 2001, the kickoffs from 2020, and realistically speaking, the XFL only folded because of the whole COVID issue that was going on right around the time that they kicked off their reboot season. So there's a lot to be excited about. Some other things that could come in from this. If you guys ever watched the XFL, they had the sideline interviews during the game. The officials were being mic'd up. There was a lot more parity with things like that going on, so you could really understand what was going on. I think bringing parity and allowing people to kind of see more of what's going on the sidelines and in those discussions where, the referees are sitting there talking for 90 seconds. What the heck are they talking about? I feel like a lot of people complain about that. Having that kind of stuff more readily available to people and giving them more of an inside view is only going to help. It's only going to increase the interest in the game and help people get a deeper understanding of what's actually going on the field and on the sidelines. I'm excited to see how this goes. I plan on covering the XFL once it kicks off next year. If you did not already know, I'm doing the USFL as they kick off their inaugural season fairly soon as well. I believe next month is when they start. Their draft is tomorrow, so make sure you keep an eye on what we're doing here. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that stuff. But this is some exciting news. Anything that involves the NFL partnering with smaller leagues to help improve the quality of the game is something I'm all about. For me, more football is better for the game, and I'm excited to see them now partner with the XFL. And now The Rock doing the intro for the Super Bowl makes a lot more sense because clearly they had this whole partnership thing going on, and it all kind of, everyone was wondering, why was The Rock there? He is literally like competition for the NFL owner, but what's going on? It all makes sense. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Let me know if you're excited about the XFL-NFL partnership, what you would want to see come from the XFL into the NFL and vice versa. What do you want to see them try out in the XFL to maybe help improve the NFL product? I will see you guys next time. I appreciate y'all for watching. Have a good one.